She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as she stays with me. She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as I stay queen. Kiss, kiss, mother's lips, kiss, kiss, mother's lips, kiss, kiss, mother's lips, kiss, kiss, mother's lips, kiss, kiss, mother's lips. Hey, me Matt here. It's been a long time since I did one of these videos, but I want to review the Hogan documentary that just came out on Netflix. And what an interesting, I knew following his career a little bit for a long time now, and it's one of those things where it's nice to learn more about it, and just to see that, he starts out as a heel, Terry Boulder, in the late 70s. Well, first of all, he becomes a rock star, in a way, quits school, and then becomes a wrestler, and then his history from there. Interesting to know that he did own up to a lot of stuff, well, a few things anyways, and watching him interact with his family in those home movies, he was not only a good family man, but he really loved children, and he was obviously, before Bret Hart and John Cena, one of those wrestlers who was doing a lot of charity work and making that known, and being into the WWF and going as the champion. Andre the Giant at that match obviously talked about, well, actually they didn't talk about that too much, but the WrestleMania 9 and how stupid that match was. But there's some talk about that. He did own up to the fact that, yeah, I did steroids before going into WWF, but that was in the very beginning of my wrestling career. So it was just a lot of different things, and I think, well, I did see Hogan knows best a little bit, but just, it's an example of, unlike the Osbournes, how it could tear a family apart, and unfortunately that's what it did for Terry and Linda, and that's unfortunate. I think what really makes me sick, though, or made me sick at the time as well, is that Linda, well, actually it was Hogan that cheated first, and then it was Linda, and Linda dating somebody who's she thought in her mid to late 20s, and she was 49, and then turns out she was 19, and apparently everything was okay. But it was nice to see the funeral and how many people showed up. Hogan being interviewed, it was a lot of regret, a lot of things that he will be remembered for, and the stuff that he really loved. And then it was a little bit heartbreaking just to see, the interview happened in April of last year, and then it wasn't, it was 3 months later, he had passed. videos in the last, well, almost 20 years on YouTube. Some of them bashing Hogan, but it made it known that I've never been a fan of Hulk Hogan. That's not to say that I don't respect Hogan for being one of those wrestlers that went, like, well, that's just it too. Like, if you think of pro wrestling, especially back when I was little, when you say pro wrestling, a lot of people would think, oh, Hulk Hogan. And that's how versatile he was. Not only as a wrestler, though, as an actor. He was a musician, but, you know, he was the guy of the 80s and the 90s. One of the guys in the professional wrestling business. Like I said, I was more of a Bret Hart guy, even though he was being interviewed for this documentary, and I kind of just wanted to slap him upside the head. That guy's so bitter about a lot of stuff. But I can't deny that Hulk Hogan was not the, I don't even know how to word it. He was the guy that really brought the golden age of wrestling and made it what it is today. And so it was a good documentary, and there's a lot of other Netflix documentaries coming up. I know that Martin Short has one coming up, so I'm gonna look forward to that. I'm a fan of his as well. But anyways, if you haven't seen the Hulk Hogan documentary, I definitely recommend it, whether you're a fan or not, which, you know, I wasn't a fan of Hulk Hogan, and I'm still not a fan of Hulk Hogan, but, you know, I had said in a video I would never speak ill of the man. I won't, but, yeah, I actually don't know how to end this, but Backlash is coming up, so I believe I might be recording an episode for that, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. I don't think that's the case at all. If you look at some of his earlier interviews, like